be scared to start anything that you want to. If you have a gut feeling of trying out something, go ahead, try. You probably will fail, but there's nothing to lose out of it. You're going to ultimately learn from that journey and you'll gain some experience.
And the thing is, you have to be patient also. Like, if you're not getting a solution, you'll be like, oh, abhi solution to nahi aaya, to matlab this is a flop idea. That is not the way to look at startups or any idea that you really feel strong about, because I think you have to give it at least a year or two to just make the world understand what you're trying to do.
Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 9 of Sustainability Simplified, your bi monthly dose of how to seamlessly build an action oriented, sustainable, and profitable business. I'm your host, Zitin, and today I'm in conversation with two bubbly and talented young entrepreneurs, Aishwarya Lonial and Indraja Khare, who do some really, really interesting work, and you will find out in a bit. Their enterprise also has a super interesting name. It's called Nose to Tail. Welcome, you guys. It's a pleasure to be speaking with you both. How are you all doing?
I'm Indraja. Thanks, Zitin, for having us here. I'm doing great.
Hi, this is Aishwarya this side. It's a been pleasure to be over here.
Okay, then. It would be great if you all can please share a little bit about yourselves and the enterprise Nose to Tail with our listeners.
Sure. So basically, Aishwarya and I are the co-founders and designers at Nose to Tail Events. And what we basically do at Nose to Tail is we're an event design company which aims to do sustainable and eco-friendly events. So whether it's corporate events or weddings or any other private event that happens. And when I say sustainable event, we're basically ensuring that there's minimal wastage at every step involved in an event.
Right.
And if I can put it down easily, like I'd like to break that down into four areas. So the first is decor. So we kind of specialize in designing a lot of upcycle decor to give, existing waste or trash a second life and using it in a very beautiful way or using natural compostable materials in our decor.
Right.
The next would be, the invites and stationery. So whether it's wedding invitations or any, signage board or place cards, anything that's, involved in an event, how can we have a tree-free alternative to it? Can like we promote using recycled paper, or nowadays there's really interesting, poop paper that's made from like elephant poop, etc.
Right.
Or how can we go digital? Trying to minimize the use of virgin paper. The next area would be gifting. So we kind of make sure that the gift itself and the packaging that it comes along with is, completely sustainable and also very meaningful. So like the person who receives the gift is not, finding it very wasteful in the function and, in the packaging itself. And the last one would be very obviously waste management that we do on site during any event. So, making sure all the waste that's generated, which is minimal, like we haven't reached a stage where we're doing zero waste events, but whatever waste is generated, we make sure it's completely segregated and it reaches the right space. Like, and whatever material can be given a second life, how can we make sure that it reaches that space? For example, any fresh floral waste that we have at the end of weddings, we have tied up with a few organizations who do this great work of converting these fresh flowers into incense sticks or holy powder. Or so, how can we give a second life to anything that's generated at the end of an event? How can we make it green or sustainable? And we do all of this while ensuring that the event still looks great, it's fun, and it's, lively. There's no major compromise as to your experience that you're having during the event.
Awesome. That sounds great, actually. That's a lot of work. At least sounds like a lot of work.
It is.
There, I would like to add one more point. Like, basically, the problem is there was nobody or no company that helped people who wanted to do sustainable events. There was no platform you could reach.
Right.
Like if I wanted a zero waste event or an eco-friendly event, there was no one system design evolved that could help people to do that. So that is why we thought there's a loophole where we can definitely work and get because as a person we researched a lot to get these people, and we knew about them because I was intrigued to be more sustainable.
Right.
But for a normal person who's doing an event, it becomes a little difficult to find such organizations and people and everyone around. So this is what both of us thought, and we were like, let's get a system of people and get all these brands under us and help them also get more work and make people with one platform to reach everywhere.
Yeah, so that sounds pretty interesting actually. And I like the idea of the whole start to end thing, and the fact that, of course, you guys could identify the fact that this is something that requires urgent attention, and there is no one platform, as you rightly said, Aishwarya, that actually catered to somebody who wanted an eco-friendly event, or let's say a zero waste event. So that's pretty interesting. On another note, I'm sure that many of our listeners must be curious to know, and I, for one, also am super intrigued about the name of your enterprise, Nose to Tail. Why this name, and what is really the significance behind it?
So nose to tail was a concept for eating, like when someone used to have a food, like especially non-vegetarian food, so they used to eat from its nose to its tail. So that was a zero waste concept there. So we thought as a company we would be providing you from start to the end of any service that you require for sustainability. And so that's why we got into it, and we thought it would be a good name for our company.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Like, I mean, it also catches one's attention, right? Because it's very unique
Yeah.
in a sense. So, and of course, it has a very deep meaning behind it. So, kudos to the name.
Thank you.
So that's a
Thanks.
good one.
It took us 1 month to come up with the name, so I think it's okay.
I'm slightly worse than you guys. It took me 5 weeks to come up with Next Mile Co. So cool,
Hmm.
great. So that was quite interesting. Tell us a little more about what really got both of you interested in this space. And you did mention a little bit about the fact that there is a demand for it, but there was no supply earlier on. But then, what really got you guys interested, and then, of course, collaborate together to formulate Nose to Tail?
So actually, Aishwarya and I both studied together in
Okay.
college. We're designers. Like Aishwarya has specialized in graphic design, and I am a product designer.
Okay.
So this actually started way back in college. So like at in our last semester, we are usually, supposed to do a graduation thesis project, and it's supposed to reflect our individual fields while we're doing it. But since I think from the beginning of college, both of us were very inclined towards social and environmental sectors. And we were just chatting one day and we're like, we want to do something on that side for our thesis as well. And we spoke to one of our professors in college and told him that both of us are inclined towards this. And he kind of said that it could be an opportunity for both of us to get together and apply both our expertise into one single, identify a problem and get a solution from two different aspects. And so that's how it kind of started. And had at that point of time while we were in college chosen food waste as our problem area, and we were trying to find a systemic solution to food wastage.
Right.
And so while we started doing our research, then like trying to study the entire food cycle from where it's grown to how it's consumed. While we were doing that, we realized that towards the end of the food cycle, when it comes to the consumer side of the chain, events were a very significant and prominent area where food wastage happens. And because it's basically just a very small amount of time that an event lasts, but the amount of wastage that's being generated in that little time is a lot.
Absolutely.
So that's where events actually caught our eye, and and we decided that, let's, look into this, like, and see what can be done, understand why this is happening. And while we were doing, started streamlining our focus on events, we kind of realized that it's not only food, it's every single thing that happens in events, whether it's decor or all the other areas that I mentioned.
Right.
So that's when we kind of felt, that there is a very big loophole in this entire industry, and the whole industry itself runs on a very, very wasteful, methodology. So how can we kind of rectify this? And that's how we kind of slowly started moving towards events, and we had a lot of ideas during our project time of how we can execute it, but it was a lot of small tiny ideas. And when we were telling our professor all of this, he was like, why? And even we kind of had this thing within us that we'll be like, okay, what if we put all this together and, do something cool, like let's start our business. Like we very jokingly said it, but he was like, guys, this is not a joke. This is actually like, this could actually be great. Like, you should definitely try it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically, it's thanks to him. We were just very jokingly thinking we can do this, but he's the one who really pushed us to do it.
Fantastic.
So while we still had around 2 to 3 months remaining during our thesis time, we kind of, asked our friends and family if they have any like birthday parties or anything at home, any small event, and where we can kind of validate all these ideas that we have and see if this even makes sense
Right.
and if it's actually helpful. So it's basically during our entire college time that we tried out and experimented and kind of, figured out how this actually works, because we have no background of the event industry. So to just understand that and to implement our ideas, we did all of that while we were in college. And once we passed out and we kind of got a little hang of it, is when we're like, okay, let's, take this one step ahead and, make it a company.
How fantastic is that? I really kudos to you guys and of course your professor as well.
Yes.
Definitely.
That's amazing. So, doing a little bit of a deep dive, what have been some of the challenges and opportunities that you guys might have encountered or explored during the setup and running of Nose to Tail? So, you guys are in operation since 2018. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about some of those challenges and opportunities that you all have kind of, gone through and explored.
Yeah, so the basic things were like we were not from a background that was into events, nor we were from a background with a business. Like we didn't do any MBA or any business management course or something like that.
Right.
So the basic was we didn't know anything. We just dived into the water without anything basically.
Yeah.
So we had to learn everything possible, like how to make a website, how to create posts,
Yeah.
how to think, do the marketing, how do you speak, how do you pitch to a client. Like we had zero idea about all those things.
Right.
So we were just lucky that we came across people who were sweet enough to teach us.
Right.
And we just randomly did so many free events. We just wanted to be like, "Okay, let's just explore, make a decent amount of portfolio." People did, met good people, but we definitely met bad people also on our way. But it's just the journey was like you have to learn every single thing to start a startup. Like we were the we were everything, like A to Z, and I feel still we do almost everything of this company on our own, and we're trying to like learn to give, which is very difficult because we are so attached to our idea and we feel people won't believe in the ideology we'll be working with. So those are different challenges we face. Will we be able to trust someone who, like how we believe in this concept, like A to Z? Will that other person who will be joining our team will believe in that same, in the same way? So those are an area. Then of course financially, when we started off, we just left college and we came into this, and we had no money. So basically, thankfully we got into an industry that works with, you need money, and then the client will give you money and you have to do
Yeah.
the event. So we didn't need a lot of financial support. Yeah. So that much we had saved up or asked our parents and we gave back or whatever, we figured out all that. And
Right.
other than that, then it came to when our business technically started picking up last year, like before COVID. It was like really it started picking up. We started getting decent amount of inquiries and everything like of that sort. Was a time when COVID happened and the industry was shut due to, because it's a gathering and we couldn't have social gathering anymore. So that was a pause for us, and it was a quite a long, I think 8 month long pause for us. And then we started getting inquiries as soon as I think the restrictions became a little bit easier, like you could have at least 50 to 100 people. Then people started doing an inquiry. But other than that, what happened as soon as the inquiry started happening, people started thinking as sustainability came on. So people were like, we don't need that much in our decor, but they used to like the capital. They always thought sustainability, when you connect it, it's going to be cheap or it's going to be super expensive.
Yeah.
To make people understand that it's going to cost you the same amount was also a task. Like people started connecting it to be a super niche area where only the cream crowd could go towards, is not what Indraja and I thought of. We always wanted it to reach out to every person possible. Like, because it's important for each and every person in India or abroad to believe in this concept of sustainability and not take it as it's a cheap thing or it's a rich thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't understand in that concept. So to make people understand ki it will cost you the same amount and not more or not less,
Yes.
was a task. And when it comes to families, there is an area, India mein shadi is not done with just the bride and groom, it's done with the families.
Yeah.
So the families get involved in it, and then
Yeah.
your chacha ji will say something, are ye to phool hone chahiye, are wo to hona chahiye. So then it becomes like,
Right.
oh, we have to take care of what Chacha ji is also saying, and making him also understand why sustainability is important, because the bride and groom very rarely will be later involved in the part, and then it's mostly just the family people we are talking to.
Yeah.
So then to make believe each and every person who's involved in that wedding that why sustainability is important was a bit of challenge. But I think after doing 5 to 6 wedding events, you try to understand, oh, the mentality is like this, and now we are ready with what if someone says we are ready with. But at start, nobody teaches you to do what you have to say to a client or what you have to tell to their family or to anybody. So it takes time to understand what you have to do. So all those were, I think, challenges for us. I can't think of any other challenge. If Indraja, you can add on.
Basically, I think what we've realized while doing all these events is that there is a huge generational gap when it comes to the concept of sustainability. So while people of our generation are very accepting of this concept, it's tougher to make their parents or
Yeah.
any of our parents understand that. So you have to basically, like us along with our clients, the bride and the groom really have to take that effort to make it successful. So if you're not like ready to take up that challenge, then it becomes very tough to really execute all the ideas. So I mean, that still is an ongoing kind of a challenge, but we've kind of figured out how to push people to really go for this because it is the need of the hour.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, some of those things that you guys pointed out are pretty important in the sense that just the mindset and the thought of the fact that there is something like sustainability.
And yeah, and people will also say that ki, oh, is this just a part-time thing you're doing, or is this something you really believe in? And I'll be like, yeah, we were into it for like almost 2 years. Of course, it's not part-time. It's something I really
Absolutely.
believe in. I want to take it ahead. They'd be like, oh, okay. Do you want to have another job? You did graphic design. Don't you think graphic design would have been a more stable job? So those questions keep coming, and we just try to ignore it. It's lesser from like our main family, so we don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, the people we've asked,
Yeah.
we've got asked such
And there's
questions.
also one more thing, like sometimes people tend to think that if it's a sustainable event or it's eco-friendly, it's going to be boring or you have to really sacrifice a lot and like there's not, I mean, it's going to be a dull event and
Hmm.
there's no fun in it. So to really make people understand that, you can be sustainable plus have fun. I mean, it's something that can go together.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to convince people because there is that misconception that if it's going to be green or eco-friendly, it's going to be drab and boring.
I feel that that was a space that helped us because we were from design background, so there was a color sense and like some sense of that into our decor elements. So that's why whenever we did any design, we knew kid this will look like this. It will look nice. There was contrast. There was everything depth, everything that we require. It won't look something flat or drab, or we won't put cow dung and we'll just leave it or something like that, which usually people have connected with earlier zero waste events. So that was something we were like, of course, it's someone's celebration, and everyone would like the celebration to look pretty, and they will be spending money over it. So it makes sense to make it look pretty at least. And of course, there was a problem that nobody made it look pretty. So we thought definitely that's an area we can work on really hard and become masters and make the world look like a sustainable event can look as pretty as it does look on our page.
There's like one more thing that we realized through the process is that usually when it comes to awareness, people take the route where you're like giving out facts and like a lot of um, you know scary news out to people to really get them affected by it. For example, by 2050 we'll have more plastic in the oceans than fish. So while that seems very shocking, it's a very momentary thing that people tend to forget after a while that, okay, yeah, something is so scary.
Yeah.
So, but the other route that you can take is that you can show them a very positive aspect of doing something green, and then that's a more long lasting kind of an impact where they're like, oh my God, this can actually be nice, and I've done something good as well, rather than a very negative shocking news that lasts just for a few hours and then you tend to forget about it. So if you really want to impact people and make that impact stay longer, we have realized that a positive outlook to it kind of works better.
Yeah, we both decided we didn't want to put garbage photos in our Instagram and make people so many straws are wasted, so many this. We didn't want to take that approach. We wanted it to look everything nice, everything pretty. We have to make the world prettier. So show prettier side. We can do it like this. Show them the. It's very easy to point out the problems without solutions. So we wanted to show out the solutions to your problems that are existing. You explain the problems to them with a solution. So that was an approach both of us took. One more area of challenge that I was just thinking when Ninja was talking was when was to meet vendors. Like it's very difficult when you have to explain the other vendors you're working with the concept that we are going, because sometimes they don't understand what we are trying to say, like why we should not be using florist phones, for example. So we'll be like, we don't use florist phone because it's bad
Right.
for the environment. So then the vendor will be like, then how will I put a flower? Then we'll be like, we will design it in a way that you don't have to use florist phone. Then we'll be like, and they all have solutions. It's easier, and everyone does it with the florist foam. So that's why they'll be like, nay, nay, florist foam is easier, so we'll go ahead with that. We'll be like, nay, you can just in like a centerpiece you don't require a florist foam, and when you do, we change the design itself, like because we don't want something that is bad. Like there are flowers that we use that are called shola flowers instead, which look exactly, or sometimes I feel they look even more prettier than real flowers, and we try and use that on net,
Okay.
like the wire net, and then we put it in that, so that we get the feel of that people what they looking for. So you have to customize to people's problems. Like you can't just keep giving them problems. Oh, there is water, don't use water bottles. Are you give them solutions to the people? No, like if people don't know the solutions, very tough for any person to choose for such options. Like we do give to our clients ki, let's not put plastic bottles, let's do this, let's put a matka, let's put give as a giveaway water bottle. So till the point you don't give solutions to people, why will they get attracted to your page? So the whole point is giving them solutions and not just problems.
Absolutely. I think That's a very interesting point that you guys have kind of put out, which is to give solutions, to be solution focused. And of course, there were some really tough hurdles you guys have to cross and had to cross, and probably will have to cross
Yeah,
in the
Yes,
future as well.
definitely.
But that also says speaks a lot about the fact that this sector actually has massive potential also to grow, which is kind of waiting to be tapped. And there are always opportunities to
yes,
kind
yes,
of experiment and look at new ways or innovative ways in which the same thing can look pretty, like you said, and with the same cost, that would have
Yeah.
costed otherwise for a rather wasteful event, let's say.
exactly.
And it's all wasted for one day, like matlab for few hours sometimes too.
Yeah,
And that is why we were like, why do people spend money?
yeah,
Like, you're wasting your money also, and it's not even helping the environment. So
absolutely.
how are you happy with it?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, some of those experiences and some of those questions like basically bring you to a point where you're like, this has to end, and we need to provide solutions for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so switching gears a little bit, having had such experiences, would there be any advice that you guys might want to give to our listeners, particularly those people who might want to, let's say, explore this space, you know?
I mean, I think looking at our journey, I'll just say, like, just don't be scared to start anything that you want to. If you have a gut feeling of trying out something, go ahead, try. You probably will fail, but there's nothing to lose out of it. You're going to ultimately learn from that journey and you'll gain some experience.
Yeah,
And when it comes to the space of sustainability, I mean, taking any effort to live a more sustainable life, there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to go from a 0 to 100% on day one. But even if you start taking the smallest of steps, it is making an impact, it is making a difference. And I think people don't realize, but your individual actions also kind of, rub off on your circle of friends, your family. So exponentially, those tiny steps also make a huge difference. So I mean, just go ahead and try it out, because if you don't try, you're never gonna know.
right.
So I mean, I guess that's it.
Yeah. This reminds me of actually a very famous quote by Nelson Mandela, who's also one of my like favorite. Like he's an inspiration for
Of
me.
course, yes.
He said, "I never lose. I either win or I learn." So that actually,
Yeah, true.
captures the essence of what you just said. And definitely,
Yes.
it's very important to kind of listen to your gut feel or intuition, as you mentioned, which is something that I personally have also been kind of relying on, even for my journey in Next Milco. But yeah, it's worked until now, so I'm sure
It
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 will, it
will.
will.
will. It just takes time. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
takes time. And the thing is, you have to be patient also. Like,
Yes.
if you're not getting a solution, you just not, you'll be like, oh, abhi solution to nahi aaya, to matlab this is a flop idea.
Yeah.
That is not the way to look at startups or any idea that you really feel strong about, because I think you have to give it at least a year or two to just make the world understand what you're trying to do, and then
Absolutely.
judge what you want to do about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great advice, and I'm sure all our listeners will find it extremely useful. And on that note, please do share all your social media handles so that our wonderful listeners can also engage with you guys and see all the wonderful work that you guys do as well.
We're active only on Instagram, to be very honest.
Okay.
So, our Instagram handle is called Nose to Tail Events. So, that's where you'll find all our work. And apart from that, they can check out our website, which is www.nosetotail.in.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your time. So truly inspired by all the work that you guys do. And I'm pretty sure that this conversation will actually motivate many people to kind of explore this space as well. So, wishing you guys all the best and take care. Thanks so much. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. So
Thank you so much. It was great speaking to you.
Yeah, same
And
here.
it's great work that you're doing, spreading awareness about different things.
Thanks.
Yes, about the space of sustainability. So this is great. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Super grateful, super grateful.
Thank you as always for listening. And if you liked this podcast, feel free to share it in your network. My one takeaway from this episode was something my mom always tells me, that is, be patient. It will all work out for the best. I would love to hear your key takeaway for today. Do share it with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You will find me there on @Zitin Munshi. That's @ZitinMunshi. Also, do get in touch with us at Next Mile Co. if you want to explore how your business can dial up the sustainability quotient profitably. You will find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram on @NextMileCo. That's @NextMileCo. Until next time.